Today I am going to share with you one of my most helpful tips that got me through some really rough sensory seeking behavior that we had a while back. If you have experienced this, you know what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, you might not have any idea. I'm not going to go into a lot of graphic detail. I'm just going to say sometimes with sensory seekers, keeping a diaper on can be a problem. And in the past we had this problem. A lot of times it can be challenging to come up with a solution to this problem. And depending on your child and how much of a sensory seeker they are, the cleanup can be anywhere from bad to, oh my goodness, I want to burn down the house. Not really, but that's how it can feel. Today I'm going to tell you about the solution that really worked for us, and for us it was really twofold. It worked both to help one sensory seeking behavior, and it also really helped in another way that for us, not knowing much about the types of sensory seeking behaviors this particular kid had at the time, it was really surprising. So I'm going to get started. Basically, a lot of times when you have the issue of a diaper coming off and anything that can result after that, the biggest problem comes after the child then has the motor skills to be able to undress themselves. So the first thing that I started using was a sleeper like this. And I realized that if I had this particular kid in a sleeper like this, at first we were pretty safe. And then aforementioned child learned how to do zippers and how to remove themselves from the sleeper. And that was when we discovered that a backwards sleeper actually works even with feet. People think that because the feet face forward on a backward sleeper or on a sleeper that you can't wear them backwards, but this is actually not the case, because as long as they're not super tight and fitted and small, all you have to do is do a half turn when you put them on, and then the feet are facing the right way. So you basically put them on so the feet are facing, you put them on backwards, but you just twist the feet around so the feet are facing the right way, and then you zip it up with the rest of it facing backwards. And for a lot of kids, this is going to stop them from being able to get to their diaper to remove it and to get into it and to get into trouble. This can be a game changer. Like if every time you go to prepare lunch, this happens, the diaper is off, then this can save the day. And the twofoldness of this was super calming, because our sensory seeker was touch avoiding and proprioceptive, and also like the proprioceptive input, because this protected from light touch, but at the same time it doesn't give a ton of pressure, but it definitely seemed like even though they weren't super tight, it definitely gave a kind of input that they liked. And so we had one particular kid who wore this under their clothes for a couple of years and basically requested putting this on even when they didn't need to have them on all the time. I mean, it was a problem sometimes because this house has central air. Our old house didn't have central air. And if you don't know Michigan, you might be like, oh, Michigan, that's a cold place. But Michigan can be hot in the summers. Our house was 90 degrees and upstairs it would get really hot. This particular kid would be hysterical that they had to wear this to go to sleep, and that they also had to have 20 blankets on them for pressure. This was way before you saw weighted blankets in stores. And so I was always trying to find ways to keep them cool at night. And so that was probably the only downside of this. But other than that, the backward sleeper was an enormous part of our lives for a really long time. And it's not anymore. We don't have anyone who has this issue anymore. But it was a tip that I definitely wanted to put out there, because I know that it's an issue that some people deal with, and I remember those days. And if you have a kid that likes to strip down and strip off their diaper and you can't keep them on, backward sleeper could be the solution for those times when you absolutely need them to keep their clothes on and keep that diaper on, especially if you need to do something like prepare a meal and you can't be right there putting their clothes back on every 2 seconds. That is it for today. If you like this video, we'd love it if you give it a thumbs up, and if you're interested in all things autism, which is what we usually talk about around here, we'd love it if you'd hit subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.